Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another recap show of the NFL. This time we're covering Week 15, my best week to date. So, previously, one good week in Week 13, one pretty bad week last week in Week 14, 9-7. This week, though, we nail it, 14-2 on my predictions. According to ESPN, all of the favorites won, but maybe that's when it closed out or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, before the game started, on the point spread, they had the Chargers by one. They had the Chargers by one. I wrote it down because that was the thing. The spread was Chargers by one, so the favorites didn't all win, clearly. But let's just start with my two blunders. So let's just check out some of the things that I said. Philip Rivers is going to continue to play at the level that he's been playing at, and the Chargers are going to win their fifth game in a row right here. And it's going to be a close one. It's going to be a close one. The Kansas City Chiefs probably are going to have the lead going into the last 3 minutes or so, but they're going to find a way to blow it, and I think that the Chargers capitalize on that. I think after what happened last week with Tennessee, I still have the Cardinals winning this game by 3. Well, clearly neither of those two predictions went well for me. The Chargers getting annihilated by Alex Smith and Kareem Hunt and the Chiefs as they just clobber the Chargers 30-13. Kareem Hunt had 155 rushing yards, over 250 yards passing for Alex Smith as well. The Chargers were never really even remotely close to winning this football game, not even in the slightest. Meanwhile, then we had the Washington Redskins, which I predicted wasn't going to be able to hold on against the Cardinals, and they held on against the Cardinals, albeit barely, 2015. And it was a really close game. I don't really regret picking the Cardinals. I honestly thought the Cardinals would beat the spread there, but they weren't able to get the job done, and they end up losing. And, again, a lot of injuries to that team. But the way that they've been playing, they beat the Jaguars with practically the same lineup. They're not a bad team by any means, and they beat the Titans last week as well. They definitely have the lineup to beat the Washington Redskins. They just weren't able to come out and do it. And, that's fair, I guess. I was honestly hoping that they would, but oh well. But all of my other predictions, all 14 of them, worked out perfectly. Not even too difficult. Let's see. The Thursday night game, Denver and Indianapolis. I didn't know that Brock Osweiler was going to play quarterback. If I did, I'd probably pick them by a little bit more. But they did win by 12. I had picked Denver by 7. So a pretty close comparison there. Probably would have picked them by 14 had I known Osweiler was playing. But all's fair. I still get the pick right, all things considered. Then we move on. The Bears really stood no chance at knocking off the Lions. They win by 10. I picked them by 13. So not too much problems there. And then we had the New York Jets and the New Orleans Saints in New Orleans, and I picked the Saints to win by 21. They won by 12. It wasn't quite as lopsided as I originally thought it was going to be. But the Jets actually decided to show up this week, which is, I guess a plus. But they did still lose 31-19. The Miami Dolphins took on the Buffalo Bills. 24-16 was the final score. I picked the Bills to win by 7. They won by 8. Oh, man, so close. So close. But I did have the Bills win by 7, and it was pretty close. Not too shabby there at all. The Bills looking pretty good, but I just don't know if they're going to have enough this week. We'll get to that on my picks for week 16. Then the Ravens and the Browns. I honestly thought, based on the Ravens' play against the Browns in previous years, I thought for sure the Ravens would have a much closer game, but they did win by 17. I picked them to win by 6. But the Browns they're still the Browns, and they weren't able to get the job done again, and that's just becoming a thing at this point. I was pretty close on this pick, this next pick, as the Vikings dominated the Bengals by 27. I picked them by 17, which was pretty decent. Not too bad. The Bengals still last in offense. I don't know how you can manage to be last in offense with AJ Green and the receiving core that the Bengals have. And they don't have a bad quarterback either. How do you manage to have the worst offense in the entire league with that lineup over guys like Houston, or to hell, even Chicago has a better offense than the Bengals? And how is that possible? The Browns have a better offense than the Bengals. How is that even freaking possible? I don't understand. I have no idea what's going on with the Bengals, but they need to switch everything at this point. Then we had a really interesting game. This one brought up quite a bit of controversy. I watched the entire game, and the Patriots took on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Interestingly enough, the spread had them at a 3-point favorite, and they won by 3. I picked them to win by 6. I thought it was going to be a touchdown. It was looking like the Steelers were going to win the game. Jesse James wasn't able to catch the football completely, and I know that's controversial. I know, stone me. But based on the rules of the game, that wasn't a catch. I think the rule is kind of dumb. However, his left hand was on top of the football. It was obvious the ball hit the ground, and he didn't have full possession of the football. He didn't take any steps with it. And you have to maintain the possession all the way through the catch, and it just didn't happen. And I know stone me for agreeing that it wasn't a catch based on today's NFL rulebook, but perhaps that right there could be part of the spark they need to actually start taking the catch rule a little bit more serious and not make it so that the dude has to do a cartwheel and backflip with the football in order to maintain possession. So that's just how that's going to be. It was a really, really exciting game all the way down to the wire. My biggest issue with the end of this game, see, the other games I wasn't really able to talk about. I didn't really get to watch them because I was at work, and so I don't have a whole hell of a lot to say on them. I have to have money to survive. But I did get to watch this game. So one of the biggest problems that I had, especially with this ending, is sure, Jesse James didn't catch the ball based on the NFL rulebook of today's standards. But they had an opportunity. Big Ben faked the spike. He had time. The Patriots took a knee afterwards, right? There was no one open. The Patriots played the fake spike perfectly. Not even any problems with their secondary covering their guys. Big Ben forces the ball into 4 defenders and throws an interception. That's where I have a problem with it. Big Ben, all he had to do was throw the ball out the back of the end zone. Bam. Kick the field goal, go to overtime. There's no need to force the football into a tight little window in between 4 dudes to win the game. You had an opportunity. If you won the coin toss, I almost guarantee you the Patriots defense wouldn't have been able to stop you. They died on that possession. But instead, you throw it into the one good play on that entire drive that the Patriots defense were able to completely play, and well. But it was 3rd down. right? A third down. Second down? Wasn't fourth down, that's for sure. You had time. You could have chucked the ball out the back of the end zone. That would have stopped the clock. You wouldn't have had to worry about it. Works the same as spiking it. There would just be less time on the clock. And then you throw it out the back of the end zone. You kick the field goal. You go into overtime. Win or lose the coin toss, that would probably decide the game right there. And I know that maybe that's what Pittsburgh was thinking, or Big Ben was thinking too. But that is still better. That's 50-50 odds compared to one player in the middle of five guys. So that entirely falls on forcing the football a little bit too much. If you throw the ball at the back of the end zone, knocks the clock off, wouldn't even be a problem. Or throw it at the dude's feet or something. Like, don't just throw it in. I know that the whole intentional grounding thing, but that's the thing, is you'd still lose the down, and then you'd go 5 yards backwards on a field goal. From the 10 instead of the 5? Oh shoot. So, in my opinion, the Steelers definitely could have at least given them a much better chance than they ended up having in that game. But I don't know. I don't know what to tell you other than that. We move on now. Another pretty close game. We got the Eagles and the Giants. Nick Foles, not too bad. He ends up winning the football game. I just don't know if you win by 5 to the 2-11 Giants. I don't know how well you're going to do in the playoffs against real teams. So this game honestly gave me more worries because I said in the last video about this week how Nick Foles was the best backup quarterback to ever play the game, and it's probably true. Dude is kind of insane. But you barely win this football game against a team with just 2 wins. I cannot say in full confidence that the Eagles can make the Super Bowl or even get close. So I'm a little worried on that front on whether or not they could actually play football with the best of them. And we're going to kind of test that. The Raiders might not be the best team in the world, but they came this close to the Cowboys. And they are a good team. Not the best team, not a playoff team, but a good team. If the Eagles play like they did this week, they're going to lose that game. That's going to be important. Moving on now, though, the Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers' return gets foiled as he gets destroyed, throws 3 interceptions. This is exactly what I was talking about when I made my pick. I picked the Panthers to win by 9. They won by 7. Pretty close. But Aaron Rodgers isn't ready to return. He's not there yet. And they're debating on whether Aaron Rodgers will even play this week. That's going to be very important on whether the Packers will be able to really stand a chance and win their football game this week. But with that, the Packers really have no chance at making the playoffs. It's just basically how I said it was going to be, and it kind of sucks to see Aaron Rodgers get destroyed like that. But he tried to come back of his own volition and get back into the swing of things at the very tail end of the season, and he just tried to do too much, and it wasn't able to work out for him. So that's just too bad. Then we move on to the 2 blowouts. Houston getting annihilated by the Jaguars. And then the Rams annihilating the Seahawks in Seattle. That was wild. That was wild. To just see the Seahawks defense get killed. Just destroyed. I'm sitting here on my way home from work, and I just open up my phone, and it's 34-0 at halftime, and I'm like, oh. Fuck. Like, damn, did they just get blown back. And wow. But that just shows how good the Rams can be, and that is dangerous. If the Rams can destroy the Seahawks, who have the 13th ranked defense in terms of total yards, if they can beat them, that they have the number 8 rush defense, and Todd Gurley picked their defense apart. If the Rams can play like this, I almost guarantee that they could be in the Super Bowl. If they could just continue to play with the intensity and the passion that they've been playing with here at the end of the season, the Rams will be your NFC champions. And that is a scary thought for the most improved team in the entire league. Of course, that is a big argument with the other team that we were just talking about, the Jacksonville Jaguars, who just destroyed Houston 45-7. I grant you, their team wasn't one of the best teams in the entire conference like the Seahawks, but damn. Next up, Jimmy Garoppolo, still undefeated as a starting quarterback, though this might be the last week. This might be the last week. It's probably going to be the last week that Jimmy goes as an undefeated starting quarterback. Oh, man. But hey, 4-10. The Niners are rolling. I don't even think they mind. Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be one hell of a quarterback one day, but I just don't think that he's going to be able to get the job done this week. But 25-23, they won by 2. It was a really close game against Tennessee, but Tennessee goes down. They dropped to 8-6, and now they're on borderline of the wild card race. So they might drop out. They might drop out this week. We'll have to see if Tennessee can survive. Then we got the Dallas Cowboys surviving against the Oakland Raiders 20-17, but they're looking pretty good without Ezekiel Elliott, which gives some scary thought on what happens when this guy comes back. Assuming that the Cowboys can still make the playoffs, because right now they're not. But they still have hope. They still have hope, and that's going to be important for them. And then the Falcons, surprisingly, didn't kill the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I was very impressed in this game because the Tampa Bay Buccaneers only lost by 3 points. But they have the number 32 secondary in the league. They have the worst pass defense in the entire league, and they only lost by 3 points. I got to give them a round of applause for that one because they did a terrific job with what they had. I'm really, really happy for them. I really am, and that's pretty fantastic right there. So. That's about all the time we have for this recap video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure that you go ahead and watch my next video, which is going to be Week 16 predictions, which will also probably come out in the near future. And, yeah, that's about it. Make sure you leave a like, comment in the comment section down below. Tell me how your predictions went for this week. That would be really cool. And, we'll see you next time.